Let's install Campfire on your server. When you buy Campfire, you're going to get this email with instructions of how to get up and running. There is a 4-step guide that you need to walk through. We are going to start here with point 1, which is picking the machine where we're going to run Campfire. I'm going to pick DigitalOcean. It is a cloud provider, and you can run that with up to 250 users on one of their basic 2 GB, 1 CPU machines. And as you can see here, we have some guidance on the bigger machines you need if you have more users than that. But of course, you don't need to use the cloud to run this. You can run it on your own server. You can run it on a Pi. You can run it on your Mac. You can run it on a bunch of different things. As long as it has a Docker, you should be good to go. So let's get set up with a DigitalOcean droplet where we can run this on. I'm going to hop over here to my DigitalOcean interface, which is just a basic thing you get when you sign up. We're going to go over here and click Droplets, and then we're going to create a new droplet. When you create a new droplet, you get to pick where it is. I am on the west coast of the United States, so I'm going to pick San Francisco. The data center doesn't really matter. You can pick that if you want to. And regarding the operating system, it also really doesn't matter. I'm just going to go with the default here, Ubuntu 23.10. And now you get to pick your droplet size. I'm going to go with a premium AMD. That's a good CPU that you get relatively cheaply. Note here, though, that the minimum requirement for Campfire is 2 GB of RAM. So you can't actually use this $7 a month thing. It only has 1 GB of RAM. So we need this as our minimum instance size. And again, as I said, if you need a larger instance and you have more users, you can just go up and add more CPUs and more RAM. This also comes with 50 GB of storage, so you should have plenty of room to upload your files in. This is basically all we need. We don't need to worry about any of the other setup here. So I'm going to click Create a Droplet, and DigitalOcean is going to set this droplet up. As soon as it's set up, we're going to grab the IP address that this new server has, and we're going to point the domain we have on it. That is going to be step number 2 here. Point DNS to the IP address of your machine. We're going to use my little demo domain here, and as soon as this is set up, I can hop over here on Cloudflare, which is what I'm using to manage my domain, but it doesn't really matter. Regardless of what you use to manage your domain, you can set up a subdomain. An A record is what we're going to use for this, and you just need to point that A record to the IP address we get. I'm going to call this chat, so I'm going to get chat.exitsoftware.io. That's where I'm going to run it. And on Cloudflare, you have to remember to turn off this proxy. Once will provision its own SSL certificate, but it can only do that if we're pointing straight to it with DNS only. So we're not going to use the proxy for now, but let's see here. We're going to get this set up. We now have an IP address for our droplet. Let's copy that, and then we hop over here into Cloudflare, and we're going to put it in. And the TTL can be auto. That's fine. That's basically all we need to put in. So now we have chat.exitsoftware.io. That's going to be our domain. And we can hop into the console of our new computer here, our new server. It auto connects with SSH. If you're using a different cloud provider, you might actually have to manually connect with SSH. It is just fine to do it either way. I like this setup. It's really easy to use, especially since we're not going to do all that much. So we can just use this cloud console. That's up and running. We're going to need now to connect the terminal to the machine. We've done that, step number 3. So now we are at the final step, step number 4, install Campfire with one command. So we're going to copy and paste this command. This command includes your private purchase token. Make sure you do not spread this. This is tied to your purchase, your account, and it will be tied to the subdomain you set it up on. The license is such that if you need more than one installation on different subdomains, you're going to buy another license to run it there. We make that point down here. So let's hop over, paste this in, and now we're going to sit tight for a while. The once installation command is first going to install the once command. We've done that here, and that asks us where do we want to host our domain. We're going to enter chat.exitsoftware.io. It needs to know this such that it can provision that SSL certificate. And now it's going to run the entire setup process. And the setup process includes installing Docker. As you saw, we did no pre-baking here on this machine. It was completely clean, off the rack, a new Ubuntu setup. We have no other preparation we need to do than to paste in this one command. But that requires us to download and install Docker, which is the operating system, if you will, for these containers. And once Campfire is packaged as a container, this is how you get the software. You will be downloading essentially an entire little system inside one of these containers that runs on your server. So we've been prepared now. We've installed Docker, and now we're downloading the once Campfire image that's going to run on this server and provide all the functionality. Now, once this is done, we're also still going to have this once command that is the interface by which you can reset password if you somehow forgot the password you've been set up with, or you can make backups and restore backups. This is also where you can force upgrades to the system. By default, we will be upgrading your system every night at 2 a.m. local time for the machine. So if we have pushed out any new updates, you will automatically get them. There's nothing you need to do unless you don't want that for whatever reason. You can turn it off. This is especially important if you're installing once Campfire on a closed network, for example, if you're air-gapped, if you're running inside of NORAD or some super secure facility or some place that doesn't even have internet, you can still run once Campfire. It is simply a local service that will run on that network. So now we're starting up. This takes 15-20 seconds in these tiny droplets. And this is the other thing. If you want a faster machine, more responsive, you can, of course, just pick something with more CPUs and power. Anyway, we are now set up with our domain. We can hop back here into our browser, and boom, we have simply set up Campfire on the machine, and I can now type in my credentials, my setup. This is going to be the first user. I can even pick a little avatar here for myself, and that is it. We are up and running. Now I can invite people to my account. I can copy this to my clipboard and send that out on an email or an instant message, or drop it in perhaps into my previous Slack or other chat system account. Or if I'm in a public venue and I want to get everyone on, I can just pop this open. People can take a screenshot of the QR code, and boom, they're going to be into the system. I'm not going to go through the entire system here. Jason has done a wonderful walkthrough of that. I just wanted to show you how you set this up. And this is essentially all it takes. Now, it is fair to note here that you're still running your own machine. You are still responsible for that machine being online. You're responsible for configuring backups if you want to have that. You're responsible for everything that goes into that. So if you're not super technical, it might not be a bad idea to ally yourself with someone who knows a thing or two about servers. But you can absolutely get going with as little as what I've shown you. That's it. This is installing Campfire.